G'day guys, haven't made a video for a while, been a bit busy working on a magazine. Um, I'm going to do a little video tonight about the issue of the masks. Now I'm going to make this very clear at the beginning, and I want to ram this point home. Masks work. Okay, if you are wearing them properly, if you're wearing the correct type of mask properly, it's going to do the job that it was designed to do. The problem with masks, however, are these things. Now, in a hospital, what happens is or any environment where you work in surgical environment or around requirement by bioweapons or germs or anything that's in that hospital environment, you are going to be wearing a mask. You might actually also notice that in hospitals, they don't just wear a mask, they wear like a full protection screen as well. We'll get to that in a second. In a hospital, however, there's one very important thing that happens in hospitals, which is not happening with public policies, which thus renders the whole issue of the mask factor an issue of compliance, not good medical practice, not good science. That is because in a hospital environment, when you use a mask, I'm going to mask, right, done, scrub, whatever. Once you touch the mask, it's taken off. It's not used again and again, or I mean, that's literally, you might be someone takes it off. Sorry, that same mask doesn't go back on again. That is the standard way that masks are meant to be used. The reason why it doesn't go back on again is because once you put that mask and you put your hands on it, or you put it on the table, or you hang it up somewhere, or you stick it in your pocket, you end up creating this thing called cross-contamination, which basically means that, say I put my mask down on the table here, any germs that are on that table now go onto my mask. Now, the issue is, at the moment, we'll kind of get back to that issue again, but let's start to go on. Also, the other issue with the mask factor is that at the moment, the general rule of policy is that, you can wear a scarf around your face, you could put a CD player on your face, you can do anything you fucking want, and that constitutes a mask. It doesn't matter whether that mask actually works or not. It's the being seen to do good. That's all the compliance wants from you. It doesn't actually want to contain the virus or combat it. It just wants you to follow the rules. Now, this has been actually challenged so far in Tulsa and Florida, and it's been challenged so far in Germany. And in both cases, the mandatory mask wearing got its ass kicked into touch, because basically the judges basically turned around and said, well, this is actually a ruling which cannot be actually effectively orchestrated. There's no clarity behind the rules, so it's actually fairly meaningless, and it was chucked out. This, of course, was later misreported in the media, and also in that kind of bully bullshit NZP thing where they take a little bit of the issue, they then get their facts completely fucking wrong, make their credibility look crap, and of course in the process actually undermine the credibility of any alternative media which is challenging the status quo. The reality was, in the court cases, and I mentioned in Florida and Germany, the issue was there was no way actually of carrying out that compliance in any meaningful way. It wasn't because of, as it was later described, that this caused, the judge said that because it said, oh, it's been proved that it caused brain damage. I mean, there is stuff like that online. It's all freaking tosh. Okay. Likewise, that the idea that turns around and says, oh no, wearing a mask causes bacterial pneumonia. Well, and then again, fact check jumps on this fact and points out that no, that's not true. And they're correct, because it's not wearing the mask that's causing the bacterial pneumonia. It's the issue of you've got people that are hands, touch, cross-contamination, taking the mask off. The breach of the mask is no longer secure, so it's not actually becoming an asset, it's becoming a liability. Again, going back to this issue is, looking online, and I read a lot of peer review material about the whole issue about masks, and a lot of this stuff is really interesting too. And here's another interesting point here, is that when we were told that masks were not such a great thing, a lot of those peer review materials and so on, you could go to and you could find very easily on search engines like Google, where the algorithms actually are being controlled by these social online companies. Online social companies that, in the case of Facebook alone, pharmaceutical companies in 2019 spent $1 billion, $1 billion on just phone apps for social media advertising alone. So these social media companies going, factories, we're going to make sure that only have the reliable material and it's only going to trust us, which has considered me. This source of information you're going to has conflicts of interest. And again, going back to my point, prior to it being considered to be a mandate, we must do mandatory masks, you could find these peer review articles which would go through and very in-depthly written by professional doctors, universities, in other words, written by experts that have spent thousands of hours researching this subject, devoted their lives to it. So that's why this is not me. This is me simply quoting other people. And actually, at the bottom of this website, I'll put a link onto it of an article I wrote about this, when it's okay to wear a mask, when it's not okay to wear a mask, which will allow you to track those sources yourself to see that, no, this is not me saying this, I'm actually quoting medical professionals and stated opinion. So, going back to the mask, overall, from the right reading I've read, the one mask that everybody agrees does the job is the N95. This is the high-quality surgical mask, comes in with an inbuilt filter. Basically, when you look at all the studies that are out there, looking at cross-contamination and everything, these masks do the job. They are great masks, but again, they're only available to people working within that surgical hospital environment. They're not available to the general public. The general public are having to rely on masks that generally, questionably, at best, might do the job, but actually have all these other issues relating to cross-contamination issues and are not being worn, as again you see in hospital situations when dealing with pathogens. The mask and the face mask. Okay, the face mask not only stops the droplets getting into your eyes, which is one factor, really great if you're wearing glasses. However, what it also does means that if you do touch your face during the day, you're not actually cross-contaminating your mask. So the security of the mask remains effective, and so it's doing its job. Public is not getting these masks. They're getting some of these things which are some of them, yeah, okay, most of them, no. And the idea that cloth masks work, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Again, go online, look at the links I have in the study. I break it down to you, give you the studies to go and actually look at it. So this is the situation. They're going around, wear a mask, it's great. Wear a fucking pizza fucking wrapper on your fucking face. That's great. Doesn't matter if it's actually doing any good. But more to the point, let's get back to another little aspect of this, is the reality of this issue. Is that, again, even in a hospital environment, the doctors, the nurses, they've got gloved up, they're washed up, they are trained and aware not to touch their face or their table or anything else, or when they do, to take off the gloves, to take off the mask, throw them in the bin, the disposable in, which actually get another issue, but we'll get to that in a second, and put on a new one. Okay? Basically, great, fantastic. The risk of cross-contamination is minimal, so it's working for them because they're doing everything right. In public world, you are expected to, you get a mask. Okay, now let's say you're trying to play the rules properly. You're trying to actually have this tool, because that's what it is, and you're trying to use it correctly. So you're buying, looked online, you can't get the N95, but you're finding something which is basically a surgical mask. It's got sanitizers. It's going to do the job if you use it again properly. Not as good as these other stuff, but it's a lot better than the idea of a cloth mask or some of this other bullshit stuff, which is basically a fashion accessory. Okay. You've got your mask. Now, the trick is, during the day, if you've got this mask and you're doing it rightly, and you're taking it actually off, every time you take it off, you're replacing it with a new mask, you're going to be looking at a minimal spend of about $150 a week. I don't know about you, I can't afford $150, and I'm sure as hell not hearing the government anytime soon saying, we've decided we're going to actually have these subsidised, and we're dealing with pharmaceutical companies that are going to mass produce and bring the cost down, so we're going to actually have available to the public to actually wear, so that actually we can actually have something that is an effective tool, and it's not just a seen to be do good item, which then becomes about compliancy, not about medicine, not about science. Okay? Most of us aren't going to be able to afford that $150. And even if you can, during the day, most of us, and let's be honest about this, most of us, when we've got a mask, we make this thing try and last as long as we possibly can, and during the day, we get up in the morning, we put a mask on, great, fantastic, we get down to the bus stop, waiting for the bus stop, have our little fucking snack, so put our mask, we take it off, have a little thing, the bus gets on, we get on the bus, we're reading a book, we're touching the phones, all throughout the day, taking off at our work desk. Oh, fuck, it's too hot. I'll put it on the desk. I'm social distance away from Nigel. It's all good. Go down to meet Cindy for lunch. I'm going to put it down on the table. So that's getting all those germs. This is what is the reality of what's happening. Okay? Most of us don't have $150. Most of us are actually not. Actually, these masks were never designed to be used all day long. So next issue is it's not just that they're not working, it's worse than that, because I said to you, these are cross-contaminant. These things actually, put it down on the table, you're picking up those germs. So they actually become a vector to encourage the spread of disease as opposed to countering it. Now, that's just the reality. I mean, that's just go and look at cross-contamination. Read up on this. Look at the links. It's all there if you look for it. Especially if you always said that I always find is a good little trick when you want to get good, solid information is, go and add the word scholarly for it, and then pull your material from people that are actually recognised university peer review material. It is there. You will have to dig deeper, because mostly what you're going against is 10 other pages of newspaper articles which are not written by medical professional people, or you've got 10 pages of basically stuff which has been promoted by pharmaceutical companies, which again have a very vested interest in this. So they're not really actually hammering home this point of cross-contamination, or the issue that occurred in the litigation situation in Germany and in Turslia, which is where the judges recognised that it wasn't actually sensible, because there was no real rules behind it, and there was no real way of actually making this tool work properly. You can give a monkey an M16, doesn't mean it's going to know how to uncock it, change it. Monkey's going to do what it is. It's going to treat it like a fucking banana. And this is basically the same situation with our mask. There is, and to be fair, people say, oh no, but we can educate them, great policies, and there is some stuff out there, but marginally, it's pretty marginal. The main real issue that our governments are pushing forward is mask, mask, mask. You must wear a mask, 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 and it's bullshit because of these reasons I explained beforehand. They're not providing subsidisation costs on it. They're not providing quality material that does the job. They're not really doing widespread educational policies on actually how to wear a mask. They're not looking at any way where these things can actually do the job they're designed to do, as opposed to actually assisting the spread of diseases. Of course, the other issue that we've got to deal with, and I'll just kind of wrap this up because we're going to make it one short, the last but least point, we're living in a world where our governments are talking to us about things like sustainability and, being good planetary citizens, and how we're running around and we're talking about banning plastic straws. And this has all been done not just because being good little citizens. We want to look after the planet. We want a planet that is around for our children and our great-grandchildren. So all these things about teaching us to be good citizens and not being polluting is because we want to actually protect our public safety. And yet, when you look at the shit that has been washed up on our beaches now, and that these masks are washing up everywhere, just like thongs were washing up in Africa, Coca-Cola bottles, these things are everywhere. Now, that alone from the pollution side of it, in terms of break down the synthetic materials they're made from, is not about public safety. The planet is not benefiting from this. Our other 23 billion sentient creatures that we live on this planet share life with are not benefiting from this, and ultimately, neither are we. Only a very few people are actually benefiting from this, and that will be largely the same pharmaceutical companies that, as I said, have spent over $1 billion on social media, who's now running around saying, oh, anything that poses mask or something, we'll filter actually out, because there is a vested interest to do so. And of course, I said to you back in the video earlier on a minute, and this, I said about how when the doctor was in the hospital, they take the mask off, they put it in a bin, special bin, and it's dealt with in a biohazard. There's a whole process to make sure that biohazard is actually contained and not causing a bigger problem. This is not happening with our generic masks. They're getting dumped in fucking normal rubbish bins, normal rubbish refuge. That is all, chucked around, picked up, left on the street. Those are all, again, becoming vectors for the spread of disease. So they're actually basically not unequivalent from the whole idea that once per time you have to carry a hanky in your nose, shove it in your pocket, carry around all day long. soon afterwards, that hanky actually doesn't become very good at actually keeping you from spreading your germs to other people. It actually is becoming recognised as a pretty grotty, yucky thing to be doing. This is basically what our masks are. They are glorified, fucking snotty little hankies, and that is not the way if you want to spread and contain germs to do it in that way. There is a place and a time for masks, and as I keep saying, if you're wearing a mask and it is a quality mask and you're doing all things right, good for you. But here's the hardcore reality. Most of us are not getting access to those masks, and most of us, throughout the day, no, not happening, okay? And then, of course, then you've got to get the idea of giving your mask to your little Johnny, because sticks his nose up his fucking, just like I'm doing right now, and his hair, or up his bum, and he's touching that mask all fucking day long. It's fucking absurd. All right, that's my little sign off tonight, and, take it easy out there, and don't take it too seriously, because at the end of the day, the universe doesn't take us too seriously. Good night.